What's up, Christmas light installers? Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about safety. We've had several people fall off of roofs, we've had several people fall off of ladders, and tonight, I want to hit on safe practices, things that we need to do to stay safe. And so that's what my goal is for tonight, and whatever answer your questions to help you grow your business and stay safe. So tonight, I'm actually just got home again. I know I've been traveling a lot these last couple days. I just got back from Tennessee, from Sweetwater, Tennessee, from Spring, Tennessee. And so down there, I was with Mr. Kerry Bozeman. We did a permanent light job in Spring City, Tennessee. And so with that, we did get done pretty quick, and so originally I thought it would take 2 days to do this permanent light job down there. We would have had it all done in one day if we had a 40-foot ladder, but we had to go get a 40-foot ladder for today to finish up that permanent light job. And so we got the permanent light job all done, went and had lunch with him today and talked how he can grow his business and how he has Christmas lights has helped him out a lot. He It's his very first year in the Christmas light business, and he did right at $50,000 for his very first year in the Christmas light business. So that is exciting to see people that are growing their business. He actually came to one of my classes in August, and so from August to now, he has done $50,000 in Christmas lights, and so that is a pretty awesome feat to see, him growing his business. And we're not talking someone in some big cities. In fact, he's about an hour away from both cities that are larger cities. He's about an hour from Knoxville, and he's about an hour from Chattanooga. And so it's neat to see how he has grown his business in that. So that's what I did this evening is drive home, and I just got home. That's why I'm sitting in on the couch and not in my office because it is cold, and Jason don't like a lot of cold. So Jason is up here in the warm weather. He stayed at the house instead of going to the shop today to that I could stay warm because I don't like cold. So that's what I've done this weekend or these last couple days. I drove down on Monday, helped him get it done, and so I am back home in here. So my book of the week. My book of the week, I actually got to read some book on the way down. I'm almost through the whole book. It is a very long book. I do like this book a lot. I think it can help you grow your business, and it is definitely a book that I would recommend. And it is a book to help you think differently, right? And so that's what I want to help you do is think differently and change your mindset. And so this book of the week is The Experience Economy. I know I posted this a couple times, but again, it is a great book. I highly recommend this book. It is definitely a book that will help you think differently, and especially in the Christmas light business, right? We sell experiences. We don't sell bulbs. We don't sell those things that a lot of you think we sell, but we sell an experience. We sell those that way we help people have an experience. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so I see some people joining in and putting some comments here. So we got Zach saying, "Hey Jason, how are you doing, Zach, on this Wednesday night?" Tide Wash put, "What's up, Jason? First year installing Christmas lights. How would you go about getting into higher end neighborhoods? I'm in Texas and we can't use bandit signs anymore." So at this point, you would do Facebook ads because you can target down into Facebook ads. I would also consider doing EDDM, every door direct mail. I would also consider trying to get your Google business profile into that area or close to that area. And so I would also have your web pages. I just wouldn't have a website that's hitting all of the whole area. I would have it individually hitting those areas so that way Google knows and the AI knows that your business is shooting for those areas. So those are some of the things that I would push, and I would hit that pretty hard for that. Mr. Pat Riley says, "What's up? How are you doing on this Wednesday evening?" All right. So, what has gotten me on this topic? What has gotten me on the topic of Christmas light installation safety? It's called people falling off of ladders and breaking both legs, people falling off of ladders and having a concussion, people falling off of ladders and breaking both ankles, people falling off of ladders and dying. So I know, and I posted this in my Facebook group a lot here lately, and I've been getting a lot of feedback and people asking questions and people saying that they fell and it's changed their life, and it's got me thinking. And even last year, I really wanted to push on safety even harder last year or this past year, and I didn't find the right systems, and I haven't figured out how we can teach safety more. Like in my in-person class, I teach a lot about on safety. I kind of go over what can happen. I teach, what not to do with ladders and how to do them, and so a lot of times we just don't think that maybe it's just the roofs, or the guy that fell today fell off. He was only 12 feet high on the ladder, and he fell down the ladder and broke both legs. And so these are all things that we need to think about that we are doing. And so um, these are all things that we have to really think about as we are growing this business. So if you don't understand this, this is something that can hurt you and cause bad things for you. And so I just want you to think about these things of what we need to do. And some of it is you know, when we climb up a ladder, do we have the ladder stabilizers on? A lot of people I've been seeing don't have ladder stabilizers. These ladder stabilizers will literally help you from keeping this ladder to falling over and falling off. And so if you just have a ladder stabilizer on, it can do a lot for you that can keep it from sliding over or falling down. Having level levelers, having the leg levelers on there so that way it keeps it from twisting and falling over. And so these are all things that we need to start thinking differently and having a safety mindset. I get it. There's a lot of times that we're just in a hurry and we just want to get it done. And I just need to lean over just a little bit more. And that little bit more is typically the time that is the last time you will do that. And so these are all things that, as we are talking about ladder safety, it is important that we make sure that we are staying safe and we are not falling off of ladders, we're not falling off of roofs. These are all things that can help us stay safe. And so this is something that I actually, a person in the group reached out to me, and I know another guy that's Michael that teaches a lot of safety. And so this is something that I want you to see, and I want you to know that it is important that you stay safe. You know, there is no room, there is no roof out there that is worth going out there and doing this. There's no reason why we are not doing things safe. You know, I see people a lot of times that risk things that they shouldn't be risking. So I just want you to think about these things. When you're up on that roof, instead of maybe you use the pit choppers or the goat, or you put a ladder, you put the safety harness on, and you put the systems in place that will help you stay safe. Because if you don't do these things, it can be your first and your last time up on that roof. And so, yes, people have died from it. Yes, people have gotten seriously hurt. Most of these people that are getting hurt are saying that they have been out for 6 to 8 months, not weeks, but months or even a year of out of commission. So if you own your own business and you're not able to do anything for 6 months to a year, what are you going to do? And so this is why I'm just hitting on this tonight. I want to talk about it a little bit. I know people that have gotten hurt. I know that it is something that we don't push as hard as we probably should. And I'm going to try to change that, because I feel like that as someone teaches and tries to, yes, I want you to be successful, and yes, I want to make you to make money. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than you getting home safe in one piece. So, with that, I know that's kind of short for me, but what's your all's thoughts? What's your all's questions? Maybe it might be about safety. Maybe it might be about marketing, Christmas lights. What is your thoughts on tonight? Christmas lights from Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. Um, Jason, hope you're doing great. Everyone is doing great. And yes, we are. Thanks for leading, Jason. I use levelers. If you were going to rush safety on ladders, don't rush your life insurance policy. Your family will need one of you. So that's a good point, right? Do you have a life insurance policy? Do you have a policy that if you get hurt, that it will cover you? These are all great things when we are thinking about this. Do you have workers' comp on your employees? Because what happens to you if you own a business and you have an employee fall and you don't have workers' comp? Are you able to pay the $100,000 in hospital bills? Are you able to pay the employee why he's not able to work for 6 months? Are you able to do these things? Or do you have workers' comp? Do you have employees? Well, Jason, I just W-9 them. So when they sue you, are you ready to be sued for that? Are you ready to be sued for the homeowner to be sued? Because it's not going to look good on your business when a homeowner gets sued because you have a W-9 employee, because you're calling a subcontractor, but technically they're an employee, because you're telling them what to show up, when to show up, and giving them all the stuff, what that looks like. So just some things to think about, things to stop and think about, and to make sure that we are staying safe. You know, I know one of the guys that posted on here, Jake, had a dude fall for 25 feet, right? Fall from 25 feet. So that's a long way down of falling, of not getting hurt. For goodness sake, stop making hot males. And that's another thing, right? There's people out there make hot males. What happens when you're up on a roof and you don't know it's a hot male, and you touch that male and it shocks you and it loses balance, you lose balance, and you fall off a roof that way. These are all reasons why, oh, it's just a hot male, that don't mean nothing. Yes, it does. Do you change pricing once December starts, or hold firm until the end of the season? Typically, I hold firm, because if people want them up, they're going to pay it, and if they don't, I don't want to pay it anyway. Because unless you have the materials and you got to get it in, you got to get it in quicker. All these are some things that a lot of the places are out of stock, so these are things that you have to think about. Raise in December, never lower them. Yeah, because typically people will pay much more in there. Um, I prefer, I'm right, prefer hot females. I agree. Hold firm. So, with that, you know, this week was a good week to go put up some permanent lights. I went to Tennessee, and when I left here, it started snowing, and there was about 4 to 6 inches of snow here. Luckily, in Tennessee, there was zero snow, so we got to install. It was supposed to rain, but by the time we got there and got on the job, it didn't rain, so it quit raining. And even this job we had today, there was a section that was sketchy. There was a metal roof that over the front porch, and it was a little bit steeper than I was being comfortable to get on, and I couldn't reach the peak anyway from that peak. So we had a 26-foot ladder, and we tried to lean it up on there to be able to get to that peak, and it would not reach. So that's why we didn't get the job done. We would have had the job done on Tuesday. If we had it, we only had 36 feet left of the permanent lights to do because it was the front peak, and we had to go get a ladder. And yes, he had to drive an hour to get the ladder, but we went and got the ladder to help keep us safe so we didn't have to worry about falling off the roof or falling off the metal roof. So we did that extra step to make sure that we stayed safe, and we actually went and got the right ladder for the right job and to keep us safe from not falling off of the roof. So those are things to think about when we are dealing with our stuff for the Christmas light season. So you all don't have many questions. I'm going to ask some questions here if you all want to fill them out. So one of the things I would say is we are getting close to the end of the season. Yes, we're still getting some people buying lights, and they're still getting some jobs in, and some of you are still working. But this is the final push, right? Usually after this weekend, you're probably not going to see too much. And so it is important that we push this week, right? What are we doing to push? Have you sent out a text message? Have you done everything that you need to push really hard at the end of the season? And some of you are just like, I want this season to be over. Some of you are like, I want more. And so I would say that this week is the week that you really need to push and maybe send those text message out, maybe call some people. If you've given quotes out, these are all things that we need to do to make sure that we get this phone ringing. And yes, you will get jobs this week. Typically, I always say the 10th. It depends on the weekends and how they fall. Sometimes we can get to the 15th, but typically your last week of Christmas light installs will be the 10th. Some people, I see David said, I need another 10,000 on the books for sure. And so it is time to go out there. If you've given out quotes, make sure that you are sending out your text, calling them, following up. Ask them, ask your regular customers, do you have anybody that can help you? These are all things that we can do. If anybody has referrals, these are all great time of year to do that. Jason, what's your take on uniforms? I see a lot of installers out here in regular sweatshirts, and I know how I stand, but some new installers might not know how important it is. I say it is very important to have uniforms. You know, I always go back to one of my old bosses that I used to have a long time ago, and it was a volunteer fire department, and he always said, I'm gonna put everybody in the same shirt, so at least you don't know who the dummy is. He's like, at least everybody looks like they belong, and it's kind of like the same thing with uniforms, right? If everybody's in uniform, one, it looks a lot better. Two, it looks like you're a business. It don't look like you're a slob. It doesn't look like you're Joe Schmo on the street. And three, It helps when you post your pictures so you look like a legit crew. You don't look like two hobos showing up with lights in the back of the truck with, ragged out, holy sweatshirts and stuff. So it's a way that makes you look more professional, makes you look like you know what you're doing, makes you look like a Christmas light installer. You may not be a good Christmas light installer, but at least you look like one. And so these are things that we can do to use uniforms by that. I believe that they should be clean. I believe you should have clean pants on, not all nasty, muddy, dirty. It's definitely something that makes the customer feel more relaxed and more eased, right? It's not something of that you are, again, even clean shaving, hairdo, everything that makes you look more professional. I know some people, and I would agree, we didn't allow people to smoke on the property because it just looks tacky and your customers probably don't like it and they don't want it. And so these are all things that its appearance, right? Even your truck, does it have the signs on it, or is it just an old beat up truck that's pulling up? These are all things that will make or break and make you look more professional. Again, when you're posting your pictures, people wonder how they get high end homes, and you're posting your nice truck in front of your nice home that you are doing. Again, appearance does matter, and I know that sometimes I struggle with this, but I promise you, appearance does matter. Mr. Merle, what's up? Are any good classes or resources on Govee installs? Yeah, it's called Throw Them in the Garbage Can. That's the good class on it. I don't know. I wouldn't use them if it was me. Yep, phone rang a lot this week so far. It's time to make another $100,000. Let's go. We are stopping on the 13th this year. Another 10 days. Another 10 days, Daniel says. So, what other questions do you all have? What other thoughts? What other, I always say this is a good time of year to sit down and start thinking about what you went well this year. Like, what did you excel at this year? And some of you might have a big list, and some of you might have a very short list. But what are some things? Did you show up on time? Did you answer the phone? Did you get a quote out within 5 minutes? Did you get a quote out within 24 hours? What did you do good this year? Write these things down on a list. I want you to write a list and write all the things that you did good this year. And then I want you to write another list of what can you do better? Did you run out of materials? Did you not answer your phone? Did you not get the quotes out? Did you not have safety? Did you fall off the roof? Right? We don't want to, that's not a good thing. So, what are the things that we can improve for next year? Because we need to write these things down now while they're still fresh in our mind. A lot of times we'll be like, yeah, we'll do that in January. Well, in January, you're not thinking about what went well and what you've done forgotten everything. If you're like me, next week I won't remember what I did this week sometimes. And so it is important that we remember what did we do well and what can I do better? Because what I would tell you to do is write down these lists of what I can do and then rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then start at the top and fix that and make it better and make the next one better. Because a lot of times what happens is we keep focusing on what we do well at and we never fix what we can do better at. And so it is important that we think about these things of what can I do better next year? What systems do I need to put in place to do better at X, right? What systems do I need to put in place so that I can install faster or I can install safer or what that might look like for you? For whatever reason, people love them here. Um, Mindset people have a hospital lined up for February, quote, over 30,000, five, and breath Christmas 365 nights, not 8 weeks. Jason, you taught me this in 2025. That is awesome. You know, Pat has been killing it, which is awesome to see. I know he's been sharing some successes with me and even the $30,000, and it is a mindset. It is taking action. It is going out there and networking. Actually, I had another guy. It was not about, and here's the thing it doesn't matter if we're talking pressure washing or Christmas lights. Safety is important no matter what we're talking about. So, those are both things to think about when we are talking about safety. But I had another guy that's in pressure washing. That's what got me thinking about the pressure washing, asking, what are some things that we can do in the winter months? And so, in the next 2 months or 3 months, January, February, March, whether we're talking about pressure washing or Christmas lights, these are the months that we need to sit down and start working on our marketing. I'm going to put out there right now that content of videos is going to do very well for 2026. I believe that with AI and all of the stuff coming AI, raw videos of you just shooting raw videos are going to do excellent. And here's why. Because there's so much fake stuff out there on the internet, I believe that that's why just a raw video of you talking or you sitting there is so important for you growing your business. It is such a big thing that will help you impact your business. I also feel like not only your business brand is huge, but your personal brand is going to make or break you in the future. We don't know what Google Local is going to look like. I know some people have had some very good success with Google Local this year. I know some people have had some great success with Google Ads, but with all the AI coming, what's that going to look like? How's that going to look like? It will be changing in the future. It has changed and it's going to change even more. And so it is important that we think about the things of what can we do to do better. And so you might say, well, Jason, I'm not good on video. Well, are you really not good on video? Or maybe you just haven't learned yet. Or maybe you haven't gotten over your fear that someone's going to not like my video. I have people all the time that don't like my videos. They even put thumbs down on me. But you know what? You cannot let that stop you from growing your business. I love using people like Bobby Duncan or Barry Little or these people like these guys that are putting out a crap ton of content and they're absolutely killing it by doing it. And so these are things that I believe that are going to become more and more in the future. And some of you are going to do well with it, and some of you are going to get left behind because you don't want to show your face. You don't want to do video for whatever reason. And it is important that I think that you're going to see this take off even more and more. I was watching a video earlier this week of Gary Vee, and I actually posted it on my TikTok. And basically, he was saying, make content, make money, and I agree 100% with this. People need to know who you are, and I believe that making content is that way of doing it. I think building your network and making content are going to be the two key factors that are going to help you grow the most in 2026. And some of you don't like me saying that, but I'm just telling you the truth on that. Inventory control needs a new system next year to better improve sales. Jason, let's do a installer meetup somewhere. Okay, where you want to do it at? Let's go. It'd be fun. Who all would be interested in a meetup somewhere? Anybody interested in that? So I'd be interested in it. But with that said, I guess nobody, I was up 20 people, and now we're down to 10, 11. I guess y'all didn't like hearing my making a personal brand, but I feel like as we move forward, I think that this is going to be a huge thing with the AI side of things. I think that personal brand, we already know that Google likes EAT, EEAT, and the first E is experience. And so that's kind of back to the personal brand of who you are and what you're doing with it. And so I think that it is definitely something that would separate you more than anybody else. Me. Trans World. That would be a fun. Maybe we do need to do a meetup in Trans World. I didn't go last year. Maybe I'll go this year. I know there's a bunch of stuff coming up, and I'm doing a bunch too. So I have to see when Trans World is to make sure I haven't got myself booked up. But if you haven't been to Trans World, it is a pretty cool thing. It's a huge Halloween thing. I know that there's a bunch of Halloween stuff. It is something that is pretty neat to see if you haven't seen Trans World. And I agree, somewhere warm. Don't we love warm weather? If you 10K for marketing, what percentage of it and how much would you spend on each marketing angle? Kind of depends on where you are. I would probably put a couple grand into yard signs. I'd probably put out 2 grand in yard signs, 2 to 3 thousand. 1,000. If you did 1,000 yard sign, that's $3,000. So I would do $2 to 3,000 in yard signs, and then I would pick either Facebook ads or Google ads. Sometimes Google ad does better, sometimes Facebook ad. It really kind of depends on your area, but I would put the 7,000 into one of those two. You might do both at first to test to see kind of which one's going to do better, but I would pick one of those two. Personally, I would probably pick someone calling Christmas lights. You going to answer that? We even answer our phone at 9:30 at night for Christmas lights, even when I'm on a call. So that's called customer service right there. So that is something that we do. So if you order from christmaslights.io or if you got questions, yes, we answer the phone even at 9:30 at night. So, but getting back to it, I would put a lot either in Facebook ads or Google ads, and I'd hammer down. I would put, I feel like 1,000 yard signs. If you put out 1,000 yard signs, if you don't make 100 grand off of that or more, then you need to raise your prices and figure out how to sell. And I'm going to talk about that, right? I see some people, they've done some stuff and they just can't get, I feel like a lot of people need to learn how to sell better. How do you sell better? Not sell the bulb, quit selling the product. How do we sell the service better? How do we sell on emotion? How do we figure that out? Because, I've got some people that are just absolutely killing it, and other people, they can't close a job to save their life. And a lot of it, I feel like, is you can't sell because you have not figured out how to sell. You haven't learned how to sell better. Some of you need to learn just communication and how to communicate better. It'll be amazing for you. It can really be amazing for you. What's up, Tyler? How are you doing, Tyler? Tyler came to one of our classes. At least $20,000 in signs. Yeah, you would know, Paul. So, with that, any other thoughts, questions? If you need any Christmas lights, you can go to christmaslights.io. I will be having some classes coming up next year. I'm looking to have a landscaping light class and a permanent light class will be coming up probably in February or March. I'm looking at that class. I will look at a couple pressure washing classes. I will have a couple pressure washing classes next year. I'm looking at maybe doing something along the lines of marketing somehow or another. I don't know if it'll be in person or online. I'm just kind of seeing like marketing, AI classes, all of those that basically can help you grow your business. Ethan Foster, how are you doing? Hey, my dang light spent 2 nights in Indiana with FedEx. Hope to see them tomorrow. Yeah, you should be able to see them tomorrow. Have 10 left to do. Good job. Hey, Tyler, how did you do this year? I'd be interested to know how you did, Tyler. Good night. Jason finally made it home from Monday. Yep, I did. I did. So it was a good trip. Good trip. So with that, I think I'm going to jump off here. Again, if you need lights, christmaslights.io. If you want to know when I go live or if you've got questions, you can call the number 855-619-5483. You can text the word light, and that will let you know when I go live. I always send out a message saying I'm going live. So every Sunday and Wednesday night, I go live on here. And if there's anything I can help you with, you can either message me on Facebook or you can text me at this number, or lastly, you can call me. Typically, I will answer the phone most of the time, but sometimes my wife answers, so you might get her. But other than that, I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you all later.